Hi, I'm Jill Bernard from Huge Theater in the United States, and I would like to know more about improv that is not in the United States. So I'm making a video series of interviews in which I talk to one person in another country to at least get one point of view on how improv started in their home country. Today I'm talking to Odile about how improv started in the French-speaking part of Switzerland.
So I can speak about Lausanne. So that's my hometown and where I'm improvising. So the first they like import improv from Quebec, Montreal. So the story is that 32 or 33 years ago, one school teacher went to Montreal and he went to an improv game, or an improv match. In French, it's the match d'improvisation. So it's two teams performing like against against each other, but not against. The French people are super like careful about saying not against but with, so they're performing with each other. So he went there, he saw a match, he went back in Switzerland and told some of his friends and colleagues, oh, I saw a show and it was amazing, it's improv and stuff. So they went all together during a second trip, all together they went there, and they went to a show, to an improv show, and they were super excited about what they saw over there. So they were back in Switzerland and they start teaching improv without doing improv, and they start teaching in schools, so to kids. And it was,
Yay.
yeah, and they, so I don't know how they get teach themselves, but I guess they invited someone from Quebec or from Montreal. So it was the LNI. So it's the League, National League of Improvisation in Montreal. And so they started teaching and being teach and stuff. And so uh, it was only for kids first, but the professional actors from here were I don't know how, if they were seeing this work or stuff, but they start doing improv like this. So they were like, okay, we can do this too because we're actors, so we can do this. So it was the professional and the kids only. And the teachers, there were 6 or 7, so they pretty quick, they had 6 or 7 teams of kids that were performing together for shows, so for improv games. And this turned into an association, so in my hometown, called AVLI, so AVLI, and it was the association of all the teams. And then these kids turned into teenagers, so they started a teenagers league, and then turned into adults, of course. So they started an amateur league, if you want. And now this association is still on, so it's a pretty big association now. It's around 1,000 members, and it's big. So there are shows like every weekend of kids, teenagers, or adults, and once a year. But back in the days, it was more professional show too. So in Switzerland, in the French-speaking part of Switzerland, we all coming from this association and this kind of improv, so improv games. And we started to do improv shows, so with less people, and we get rid of the, you know, the because the improv match is like a hockey game. So
Yeah.
you have the ice rink, do you
Yeah.
call it?
Yeah.
Yeah, without ice, of course, because it would be dangerous. So, but it's the same, and you have the referee, but like in improv games, I mean, you know the setup, and two teams of 5 to 6 people, 5 to 6 improvisers, and yeah, I don't know, like 10 years ago or more, 15 years ago, I would say, we started to do other stuff. So first we get rid of the setup, and then we get rid of the competition, and we started to do improv show, as we know that you were doing in the United States. And there is one person who's really important in this process. It's Yvan Richardet, that you know, because he was reading books. Actually, he read books about improv, Del Close, Keith Johnstone. He was reading this and telling people, guys, we can do something else. So he started to do something else, and it went really well. So now we have professional groups performing other show, like musicals, are inspired by the cinema, the films, the movies, or some other stuff. And now it's we have a town filled with improv and many different styles of improvisation. I think the thing that is specific about our hometown is we have a really famous drama school, and there were a bunch of young people that were coming from improv, from the improv game, uh, that studied theater in this school, and it was a time where improv was not how you say, um, not well seen, or no, respected, well
Well known.
well known, but it was more than that. It was improv is not theater.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Well
So
regarded.
exactly, well regarded. And in this school, the improv was not well regarded, but a bunch of people were coming from there, and they continued improv during the theater school, so they didn't drop out improv. And so it was a chance for the improv world, because they were becoming professional actors and they were defending improv. And the show, inspired by cinema, movies, called Casting, it was the first show where in the audience you may have theater directors, actors, and everyone was like, oh, okay, this is not what I saw 10 years ago in a match, in a, you know, a big venue and stuff. It's a small theater, and it's artistic. So they saw something really, yeah, artistic in this show. And the show has been programmed in a actual theater, so not in a bar,
Yeah.
not in, you know. And it was a main step, because from there the troupe went really respected, and now it's a group who is financed by the city, like another theater project might be. So we have, I'm in this group now, but I wasn't there at the beginning. But I think it, yeah, the willingness at the beginning of this project was to tell, okay, improv is theater, improv is acting, and we're gonna do this right to prove it to the world, to the, yeah. And so now it's yeah, it was a big step, and now it's important because we're getting money, public money, you know, from our town and from our region. No, how
Yeah.
do you? Yeah. Um, so it's really important. It was a main step in the the record, the yeah the okay, improv is a thing, and it's a thing in the artistic world.
So it's entirely possible that somebody now has done improv pretty much their whole life and is
Yeah,
now a
yeah,
professional, respected artist.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. That's my path actually, because I started as a kid, so I was 12. I was doing just improv games and stuff. I worked with Yvan Richardet, Ivan, and then they call me, so they pick me, in the professional troupe. So I started to get paid for improv, and I had a job. I was a psychologist. I was a researcher in health psychology, and then so I was paid for improv, and I was still working on my PhD in the university, teaching people at the university and stuff. And one day I just decided to try to be to make improv my job, and it worked. So yeah, so they're super important, and all the members, every members of this professional group comes from the association I was telling you before. So yeah. Now there is 18 or 20 teams, so almost in every school, and it's really powerful because first, of course, it wasn't the case, and now it's really everywhere. So yeah, and it's free, so you're not paying for improv classes. It's just during your school day, so you have your morning, and then during lunch you have improv, and then you're going back to class. So yeah, it's really important, and the people in charge in the association are doing an amazing job about organizing this meeting, these games, and finding people to teach improv somewhere. So it's an amazing job, and they're just going bigger and bigger. So yeah, and it's also, in a political view, it's really interesting because it's a form of theater that is really open to any kind of audience, and we are in the city that is we have many theaters, and it's really important in this city. The theater is really important, but not always open for everyone. So they have a strong spot of introducing people to culture, to the cultural world, and to theater. It's an important job that they're doing. Yeah, it's really impressive. Maybe not everyone, of course, but many people. Yeah. Even when I'm going to, I don't know, I'm going to the hospital for something, and the doctors is like, "Ah, what you're doing for a living?" "Ah, I'm an improviser." "Oh yeah, I saw improv once." And so yeah, it's it's well known.
That is so cool.
Yeah,
Sort
yeah,
of built in, built
yeah,
into the
exactly.
school system and built into the theater scene more
Hmm.
broadly. Oh, how
Exactly. And in Switzerland, maybe people won't change of city, moving from a city to another that much. Like in France, people are moving a lot, but in Switzerland, it's less. So many people that are now adults are born in Lausanne or grew up in Lausanne. So they saw an improv game once, or yeah, a lot of amateurs, a lot. It's amazing how many people just took like an improv class once, just for a month or 6 months, or I don't know. But yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of people, and in our that's cool also, because in our professional groups, so for example, I'm performing in three of them, and there are five. And in these groups, there are people that are paid for improvising for a while, for sometimes 10 years, but they have also another job, aside, and it's a perfect balance. So it's a mix of that's what I love also, because we're on stage and we have different backgrounds, and it feeds the show too, because we have many knowledge and stuff. So the audience is always like, how do they know that? How do they know about working woods? Yeah, because she's working wood. I don't know how the word in English for someone who is doing furnitures with wood.
Yeah, you're gonna love it. It's woodworker.
Woodworker,
Yeah,
perfect.
she does woodworking.
Exactly. So yeah, it's it's perfect. So yeah, it's to me it's an important thing about improv professional groups too. It's amazing because all of us now, the professional improvisers, it's the first generation. So before us, there is almost nobody that is professional, maybe one or two, but they were doing also other stuff aside. So we're the first generation, and we all have been taught by teachers, by school teachers that never performed. They were just teaching improv as they saw that they were doing. So like, okay, so they need to listen to to know how to tell stories, and okay, we can do this. And they just did, and it's yeah, it's perfect. It's magical.